The day of the $40 million business deal arrived. My boss, Emily, was standing frozen, unable to answer the client's questions. Then, our former manager Kevin stood up with a smirk on his face. "Everyone, I apologize. It seems she has completely forgotten about the mishandling of the previous contract." At that moment, everything clicked for me. Kevin had deliberately failed to brief Emily properly and had not told her anything about past incidents, setting her up for failure. I couldn't stand to see her struggle any longer. I stood up resolutely, walked up to the stage, and stood beside Emily. Then I pulled out a different set of documents and began explaining smoothly. Kevin would have to pay for the mess he created. "My name is John. I'm 42 years old and work in sales. I work for TechCraft, a company that manufactures and installs industrial equipment, but the tasks I'm assigned are always very simple. This is because my direct supervisor, Kevin, has deemed me incompetent and never gives me any substantial work. So, I spend my days organizing files and making copies, feeling like a perpetual newbie. Kevin often assigns me menial tasks and, on bad days, even sends me to the convenience store to get his coffee. It's completely personal and not work-related, but the other employees are too scared of Kevin's wrath to say anything. I wanted to do more fulfilling work, but I couldn't bring myself to speak up. I've always been timid, unable to stand up for myself since I was a kid. One of my classmates from elementary and middle school, Mike, used to bully me relentlessly. Mike called me kiddo and always laughed as he tormented me. I wasn't outgoing or athletic. During recess, instead of playing with the other boys, I would read books or write stories by myself. Mike would snatch my notebook and mockingly say, "Wow, you're writing stories about girls? You're seriously weird. Give it back. There's nothing wrong with it." I would reach out desperately, but Mike would just wave the notebook tauntingly. "Of course it's weird. While we're all playing soccer or dodgeball, you're here writing lousy stories. Stop it. Give it back." Mike bullied me endlessly. Though I wanted to avoid him, we ended up in the same class in our 9th year of middle school. I thought it was the worst. When it was decided we would do a play for the school festival, Mike maliciously suggested I should be the lead. "I think John should be Aladdin. He's always reading stories, so he'll be great." I hated being the center of attention, so I was shocked. I tried to decline, but everyone agreed, so I had to play Aladdin in Aladdin. The girl playing the princess cried because she wanted a cooler partner. I felt so embarrassed I wanted to cry too, but the play was a success, and our class got a lot of applause. I hated the attention so much I wanted to disappear from the stage. Afterwards, everyone went to karaoke for a celebration, but I went home and curled up in my bed. Because of this, I still can't stand up to others and get nervous when criticized. Even when my boss demands unreasonable things, I comply without a word, thinking my life will always be this dull. One day, a woman from a regional office transferred to our headquarters. Her name was Emily, and she was assigned to my department. She had a tall, straight posture and striking and well-defined features. She was set to replace Kevin as my boss, and I worried she might be as tough as he was. But Emily was kind to me. "John, could you handle creating this report?" "What? Are you sure I can do it?" I was shocked and blurted out, as I'd never been given such significant work under Kevin's supervision. Then Emily tilted her head slightly and said, "Yes." Everyone else said they were too busy to help. Please don't take it the wrong way, it's not that you seemed free. "No, I'll do it. If you're okay with me, I'd love to take it on." I was genuinely thrilled that Emily entrusted me with this task. Having only done mundane chores until now, I poured all my energy into creating the report. The result was a clear and well-organized document that looked great. "Emily, I've completed the report. Does this look okay?" "Thank you. Wow, it looks very good. It's neatly organized and easy to understand." "John, you're really good at this." Emily beamed at me as I nervously handed over the report. "Yes, I enjoy doing this kind of work. I'll ask you again." Being praised for my work made me happy all day. From that moment, I started to take a liking to Emily. Emily graduated from a prestigious college and even studied abroad in the UK, which gave her an intellectual aura. She was also attractive and single, so many male colleagues were interested in her. They probably wanted a smart and beautiful wife like Emily. During breaks, the men took turns inviting her to lunch. But she always politely declined everyone's invitations with a smile. Instead, she continued working at her desk, eating convenience store sandwiches. Since I also ate convenience store food at my desk, I felt a sense of camaraderie with her. Although Emily was kind to the other female employees, they didn't seem to like her. They complained that she was condescending because of her elite background. I had never felt that way, so it seemed like jealousy to me. Emily had good looks, a great figure, and an impressive education. Perhaps her credentials made others feel an insurmountable barrier. Yet, the other women, who were married with children, would gossip that Emily couldn't understand them. I felt sorry for Emily. Regardless of marital status, everyone has their own circumstances, so people should mind their own business. The female employees would say that one isn't complete until they're married with kids, but that's just meddling. If I were a woman, I couldn't bear such remarks from my peers. However, Emily never got angry or sad, always smiling and brushing it off. One day, Emily approached me. "Could you accompany me to the client meeting next week?" "What? Me?" I was puzzled that Emily asked me directly when there were other employees available. "Yes. I thought it would be a great learning opportunity for you. Since you helped organizing the documents for this deal that Kevin was working on, I'd like you to come." While I had indeed organized the documents for Kevin's projects, it was merely a filing task he ordered me to do. But Emily seemed to believe that Kevin entrusted me with those documents because he trusted me. If that's the case, I'd be happy to join. Could I have the documents Kevin handed over? Upon my request, Emily's expression darkened. That's the problem. Kevin said he already handed them over, but I haven't received anything. He claims he doesn't have them anymore. What? So you haven't seen the documents at all? To my astonishment, Kevin hadn't handed over any documents for this project. Despite Emily's repeated requests, Kevin insisted he had already done the handover. In reality, Emily hadn't received a single file or contract related to this deal. This is unbelievable. I've checked multiple times thinking I might have lost them, but there's no record of any handover. I'm at a loss. That's why I thought having you, who worked closely with Kevin, would be helpful. Emily furrowed her perfectly shaped eyebrows, looking genuinely troubled. Seeing her distressed, I sighed internally. This was probably another one of Kevin's malicious tricks. Kevin, who still wanted to stay on as the sales manager, must have felt bitter about losing his position to Emily. In the days leading up to his transfer, he took out his frustration on our team, myself included. It was inappropriate for a professional, but Kevin likely left the handover incomplete on purpose. The reason I'm accompanying this transaction is that it has some issues. It must be a plan to throw Emily, who knows nothing about the situation, into the mix. I was furious with Kevin for continuing to torment our department even after his departure. I understand. I'll go. Though I'm just a lowly employee, I'm not sure how much help I'll be. Please don't say that about yourself. Regardless of your position, you work hard, and that effort will be rewarded. Emily's sincere expression warmed my heart. Okay. I'll do my best. Please take me along. Thank you. I'm counting on you. Emily's bright smile made me nod with determination. Since being asked to accompany her, I spent my time thoroughly reviewing the related documents in the archives. Having been assigned to organize files by Kevin, I knew exactly where everything was. I compiled the most important documents and handed them to Emily. Though it took until late last night, we were finally ready for the meeting. On the day of the meeting, Emily bowed to me. This wouldn't have been possible without you, John. Thank you so much. No, not at all. This is the result of your hard work, Emily. Let's give a great presentation. We steeled ourselves and headed to the conference room where our clients were waiting. TechCraft, the company I work for, manufactures and installs industrial equipment, and we were trying to secure an order for machine parts. With $40 million at stake, this deal had to succeed. Several executives from our company were present. Unexpectedly, Kevin was also in the meeting. Despite my inner confusion, the meeting began. Emily started her presentation smoothly with the materials we had prepared together. However, just 10 minutes in, the meeting was halted. The client's employees began whispering among themselves, and one of them, Mark, raised his hand. Before we proceed with this deal, could you explain the issues from the previous transaction? What? The previous transaction? Emily looked confused and glanced at me. I was also unaware of any issues with the previous deal and tried to seek answers from other employees. Then I noticed Kevin smirking maliciously. What's the matter? Hurry and answer their questions. Kevin's prompting made me realize we were being set up. All eyes were now on Emily. We requested an earlier delivery, but it ended up being delayed by about 6 months. Additionally, the delivered product did not meet the promised specifications. How will you address this? According to the other party's explanation, the previous transaction was a project that was ordered by Kevin. They were supposed to manufacture and install the equipment requested by the client. However, by the deadline, the installed equipment was nothing like what was agreed upon in the contract. The production speed and precision of the delivered equipment were significantly downgraded compared to what was ordered, resulting in a storm of complaints from the site. But Kevin took no action in response to these complaints and transferred to a different position, leaving everything to his successor, the new manager. Despite this, Kevin did not hand over any related documents to Emily. As a result, we entered this $40 million deal without addressing the problems from the previous transaction. Well. Emily frantically flipped through her notes, but she wasn't prepared for this. Her pale skin turned even whiter as panic set in. Satisfied with the chaos he caused, Kevin began speaking. Everyone, I apologize. It seems she has completely forgotten about the mishandling of the previous contract. The executives began murmuring, and some directing stern looks at Emily. Emily, overwhelmed by the unexpected questioning and the critical eyes of the executives, was on the verge of panic. Kevin sat back with his arms crossed, looking satisfied with Emily's situation. It was at that moment I finally understood everything. Kevin had deliberately withheld the handover and failed to inform Emily about past cases, hoping she would fail. He must have orchestrated this to ruin Emily's future and to reclaim his position as the sales manager. But I wasn't going to let that happen. Emily is a dedicated worker and a great boss who cares about her subordinates. I couldn't bear to see her struggle any longer. I stood up resolutely, walked to the stage, and stood beside her. Then, I took out a different set of documents and began explaining smoothly. Thank you for your continued business. Regarding the equipment, we have made all possible repairs to ensure it operates without impacting your company's operations. But the delivery date. We can't trust a company that can't meet deadlines. The client shouted angrily. I calmly continued. The original contract had an unrealistic deadline. We requested your cooperation to meet that deadline, but unfortunately, it wasn't provided, causing the delay. It was Kevin who had signed the contract with the unrealistic deadline. When I glanced at him, Kevin was sweating and nervously shaking his leg, glaring at me. Ignoring his displeased look, I held up the new documents. Here is the original contract. Why do you have that? I could hear Kevin's groan. I had found the previous contract while preparing for this presentation. I hadn't told Emily since it was a lot of material, but bringing it turned out to be the right move. Indeed, our company didn't fulfill the conditions stated here. But the fact remains, the delay caused us significant losses. As I mentioned, we made all possible repairs after delivery. As you are currently using the equipment without issues, there shouldn't be any operational disruptions. The other parties started murmuring again in response to my claims. One of them made a call to the site and confirmed that my statements were accurate. But, due to the delay, we demand compensation for the loss incurred. The performance didn't meet our specified standards, and we request an apology and compensation. The specified standards were reference values, as clearly stated in the document. Also, as I mentioned, the delay was due to the lack of cooperation from your side, and we've ensured there are no operational disruptions. Presenting the contract confidently, I responded. Again, the other party scrambled to confirm with their company. However, the delay did occur, and we apologize sincerely. We will avoid setting unrealistic deadlines in the future. I glanced at Kevin, who was now pale and glaring at me with narrowed eyes. The contract clearly showed Kevin was responsible for the previous deal. Hence, the executives were now suspiciously looking at him. Despite the unexpected issues, we immediately addressed them. We will always strive to prevent any harm to our clients. As demonstrated by our prompt repairs last time. I concluded the presentation with a deep bow. When I looked up, I saw a look of trust from the clients. After confirming with our headquarters, everything you said is correct. We had missteps too, disrupting our coordination with your company. But we appreciate your prompt response. The presentation then proceeded smoothly, with Emily presenting the crucial part. In the end, we successfully closed the $40 million deal. Afterwards, Emily looked relieved. Thank you so much for today. The deal was finalized thanks to you, John. But how did you manage it so well? Who are you really? Well, as I was about to answer, Kevin stormed over, fuming. What was that about today? And why is this useless John here meddling in the deal? You should be more concerned about your own position. When I calmly responded and pointed behind him, Kevin's face twisted in shock as he turned around, exclaiming, "What?" There stood the executives, glaring at Kevin, especially Executive Vice President Tim, who looked furious. What is this about the previous contract? An obviously unrealistic deadline and questionable terms? Well, it was just a small mistake. Kevin immediately hunched his shoulders, struggling to come up with excuses. His arrogant attitude towards me was now completely gone. Mistake or not, we almost lost a $40 million deal. Do you realize how much damage that would have caused our company? You should be thanking John for saving the day. Forced to show gratitude to someone he had always belittled, Kevin reluctantly bowed his head, bitterness evident in his expression. But the upper management didn't stop there. We have already had concerns about your work attitude. We will conduct an internal investigation and decide on your disciplinary action accordingly. Prepare to face the consequences. Wait, please. I did nothing wrong. Chasing after the executives as they walked away, Kevin was half in tears, desperately trying to defend himself. However, once his actions were fully exposed, it was likely that he would face severe repercussions. After the commotion died down, Emily turned to me again. John, you're really impressive. You always said you were just an incompetent employee, but I can't see that at all. Oh, come on, you're exaggerating. I'm just an ordinary employee who handles paperwork. No matter how much I denied it, Emily kept looking at me with a serious expression. Why did you bring the previous contract? Without it, today's negotiation might have failed. In business, it's crucial to back up claims with contracts. Contracts serve as proof, detailing specific and clear terms with mutual agreement. As I explained smoothly, Emily's eyes widened even more. Be honest with me. Are you actually an elite? You're quick-witted, logical, and persuasive. Do you have any qualifications? Well, seeing her earnest gaze, I realized it was pointless to hide the truth any longer, so I finally revealed my true background. Actually, I have a law degree. What? So you were a lawyer? That explains why you're so knowledgeable about contracts. Did you also go to law school? Emily's eyes grew round with surprise at my response. No. I passed the bar exam but chose not to become a lawyer. What? Why did you say you were just an ordinary employee? You're really talented. Thank you so much for saving the day. I was panicking. Emily repeatedly expressed her gratitude. I had kept my law degree a secret at the company. Although I mentioned it in my resume when I joined. Only HR and top management knew about my background and qualifications since the company is large. Kevin and my colleagues probably saw me as just another useless employee. I was always more of a bookworm and got teased a lot by my classmates. I even wrote novels but was ridiculed for it. John, you have so many talents. That's amazing, truly amazing. Emily kept praising me, but I didn't see myself as exceptional. I obtained my law degree to help people, but then something unfortunate happened. My mentor was targeted and seriously harmed by someone involved in a case, and I witnessed the incident. He eventually passed away, making me question the profession. I aim to help people as a lawyer, but the idea of being hated to the point of being attacked made me reconsider. So, I decided not to pursue a legal career and instead chose to live as an ordinary employee. I've never liked being in the spotlight, so a simple office worker's life suited me more than I expected. During interviews, I was often asked why I wanted to be an office worker despite having a law degree. But I just wanted a peaceful life as a typical employee. I gave generic answers and got hired, leading to where I am now. Initially, I worked hard, but as I aged, I was told not to overdo it or that my efforts inconvenienced others, so I stopped trying so hard. Most new hires had only attended four-year colleges, so my background in law made me an outlier. I was probably treated as a useless employee because of my age. As a result, Kevin gave me menial tasks, treating me as incompetent, but I didn't care anymore. Although I longed for fulfilling work, I disliked standing out during crises. I had always worked as an employee with the sole intention of avoiding responsibility, but this time was different. I couldn't ignore Emily's struggles and wanted to help her. Emily had always looked out for me since she arrived, so I wanted to support her in return. After sharing my past with her, she listened with teary eyes until the end. Seeing her cry for me made me feel somewhat pleased. "John, you're a sensitive and kind person. I think you're too gentle to handle harsh realities, which is why you couldn't become a lawyer." Hearing such kind words, I couldn't help but blink in surprise. But that's not something to be ashamed of. It just shows how pure your heart is, Emily said, patting me on the back. After that, the negotiation proceeded smoothly. During the meeting with the client, they reviewed the details, and we drafted revisions on the spot. Given my law degree, we even completed the contract draft by the end of the meeting. The client trusted me completely for my swift and accurate handling of the transaction. Under Emily's leadership, our sales department continued to improve its performance. Later, the executives announced Kevin's demotion. At the same time, a transfer order was issued, and Kevin was moved to the archiving department. As the name suggests, it's a well-known dead-end department in the company, effectively equivalent to a dismissal notice. Initially, Kevin tried to regain his former standing, aiming for a comeback. However, word of his near failure of the $40 million deal had spread, causing everyone to distance themselves from him. With no work and no social interaction, Kevin's spirit broke within just 2 months. He submitted his resignation and left the company voluntarily. Kevin eventually found a job at a subcontractor of our company, but even there, he caused problems. Unable to let go of his past glory, he repeatedly made disrespectful remarks to his new superiors. Ultimately, he couldn't fit in and resigned again, leading to a series of failed job hunts. Kevin's reputation had spread in the industry, and he could no longer find permanent employment. Now, he earns his living through day labor, working on road construction and other manual jobs. A colleague mentioned seeing him looking ragged and working hard, a stark contrast to his once arrogant demeanor. As for me, I still work with Emily. The only difference now is that Emily's last name has changed to mine. After everything, I mustered up the courage to confess my feelings to her. When I told her that I had liked her since we first met, she looked slightly surprised, then smiled gently and nodded. "I've always liked you too, John. I stayed at my desk for lunch just to be near you." "Really?" It turned out we had mutual feelings for each other. We got married. At work, we use our previous last names for professional reasons, but at home, we enjoy our joyful newlywed life. Meeting Emily was the greatest fortune of my life. Without her, I would have continued as a quiet, ordinary employee. I believe that together, we can face any challenges life throws our way, supporting and encouraging each other. With that thought, I held her hand. She firmly squeezed back, reassuring me of our shared strength.